creating a safe space. That's the most important thing for me. I've had so many experiences with a lot of studios feeling like I have to do something when I'm here. So creating a space where we don't feel like we have to create, maybe we just have a coffee today. As a human, you want to always be the best person or do things perfectly or do things right. But what is right, you know? And I feel like having some grace with myself and being like, it's all right, it's fine. You'll figure it out.
Music is a gift, but few artists share with such a universal generosity as Cleo Sol. It's timeless, music from and for the soul. For those of us who listen, the experience is profound, encountered only with the wish that the world knew. Up until now, Cleo has chosen to speak almost entirely through her music. After all, not every story needs to be told. But in the organic fashion in which she moves, the stars aligned, and here we are, talking life with a student of it. Maybe today will find you, and the music will move you, and you too will want the world to know Cleo Sol.
This is so amazing. I've been in a lot of recording studios, as you can imagine.
Yeah.
And not all of them are that calming. Sometimes they can be quite high frequency places to go into.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Like, me and Flo speak about it. Like, sometimes we go to some studios and they feel like airports. That's the only thing I can, because you're passing by, aren't you?
It's a transaction.
Yeah.
It's like, come in and give us your creative.
Yeah.
So give us some money and you leave with some creative.
Yeah.
And
but then you sort of leave your creative there as well sometimes, which is like, I don't know, it's weird.
And this place doesn't have any sense of time playing a dominant role in here.
Yeah. It eats up time. And it's beautiful. But I'm a mum too. So I'm like, don't want to look at my clock. I want to turn my phone off or have it in the side of the room. But at the same time, yeah, when it comes to a certain time, I need to go pick up my son.
That is the challenge, right? Is knowing how to listen to your creative instincts and feed your spirit, but also know that what's also feeding your spirit is leaving and going and being a part of this other part of your life.
Yeah, and that's so fulfilling as well. I'm thankful for the ears for listening, because you don't know if people want to hear that. You don't know if people want to hear your struggles being a parent and also becoming a mum, like having an understanding from others, which I never had before. Like a love for parents, a love for people who show up for their kids is different, you know?
Yeah, you captured that so perfectly on Mother, and that feeling continues through your music. But I just want to say thank you for taking the time to meet with me today. Thank you, I appreciate it. It's a big deal to talk because it has to be true, you know? So it draws me to want to talk to you, but I only want to sort of have a conversation about whatever it is you want to talk about, because you've said everything to us through your music. That's good to hear, because that was the goal. That was honestly the goal. It was like, you have your life and you have this gift. You don't know if it's something that people want to hear. You don't know if your stories are things that people want to hear, but you do it anyway. And people are listening, and it's nice. People send me nice messages, and sometimes I can't read them. I have to it's so much. It can be quite heavy. And I'm like, whoa, you listen to my music through that, and I'm like, okay, that's what God has given me this gift for. And I just pray every day I wake up, I'm like, I just pray you use me for the day. That's the most important thing. Yeah, it's clear to me you understand the importance of letting go and allowing yourself to be a vessel. Yeah, it's the most important thing. Yeah. I've done go to studio, yeah, I know what I'm doing, and nothing comes out. And then you're like, oh, wow, I'm really shit. Wow, what happened? Yeah, I can sing, I know I can sing, but there's more to it than just having a nice voice. There's the stories, there's the intention, not overdoing it, I don't like the too perfect thing. I don't know what it is, I know it's God, so I'm like, I try and keep my vessel clear and clean and try not to let too much distractions get in the way. That's really tough. We live in a world that's just constantly distracting. Yeah. All the time. Every day, every second. As soon as you wake up. Yeah. It's being present and being in the moment, I think, is one of the greatest and most fulfilling disciplines you can apply to your life, but it's very hard to get there. And all credit to everybody, all of us around the world. It is 100%. A constant process. Yeah, and that's an understanding we all have as well.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I feel like we're all like, how do you get focused? How do we do it? And share these kind of, some people got the gems. Do you know what I mean? And it's like getting those gems and giving your gems to somebody else.
This is one of the things I love about getting to know you through your music, and understanding the relationships that you've developed through making your music with Flow, with your friends, with the group of people that you create with, that you live a life in process.
Yeah.
And I mean, let's take it back to Rose in the Dark. You know, One Love is a beautiful opening statement. It says that we're all in this together. But really the first line to me that like smacks me right between the eyes in a beautiful way is, why don't you just let go? It's like the first thing you say when you came back and made an album.
Yeah.
And I feel like you were telling yourself that, even though I take that personally.
Yeah. It's definitely me talking to myself. Just put everything aside, all the rubbish. And when that album was made, I was in a studio flat living with Flo. We were living together, really trying to figure it out though. Like super rough, fun, but not having a focus. And there's no pathway. Like you can have people who do music, but it's not the way you might want to do it. Or there might be people who inspire you, but it's like, that doesn't feel like that's what I'm supposed to do. So just having a person to bounce back on, and also he's a real reflection and a mirror. So we're both like, every day we face each other, we have these conversations, and then we're like, well, we can't lie on our music now. We might as well tell the truth, you know? So it's like, no, he's like, you can say it better. Or I'm like, let's come again, you know? Like, literally, like,
Yeah.
And he's like, true. Like, we like face each other like that, which is a beautiful, I guess, understanding in the relationship, and it just keeps growing, which is really nice. But that's the Rose and that was the start of like...
That's the start.
Keep it 100, you know?
Yeah, it's the most beautiful place to start for any human being, is to ask yourself to let go, because then you open yourself up, I think, to everything that is going to roll out before you.
Yeah.
The highs and the lows, right? But it's like, understand control is a myth.
Yes, 100%.
I love that when it dawned on me that was a conversation with self.
Yeah.
And it really kind of brought home to me and everyone who listens, I think, that you understood the importance of manifesting your truth through music from the jump, that time.
Yeah.
And because you'd been through, and you talked about this a little bit, and we don't have to get stuck in the past, but I think it'd be good to just, at least from my perspective, understand the lessons you learned from starting and stopping.
Yeah.
And then coming back with Flow and realizing that, no, if we're going to do this, honesty and truth are the key principles.
Yeah, definitely. I think I went from college, I was 15, 16, and I met a producer, Da Vinci, great guy. He was doing like grime at the time. And we just started working straight away. And it was my foot in the door for the music industry. Not necessarily what I wanted to do in terms of the type of music, the sound, but I was like, look, I'm a singer, I can get my writing in, I've got a cool relationship with a producer.
Were you in a hurry?
I think I was scared that I was going to lose any opportunity that came my way, so I sort of said yes to everything. And it was like, I don't think I knew my worth. So I didn't know, first of all, I didn't know why I was doing it. I just knew I had a nice voice. And if I was to speak to my younger self now, I'd be like, figure out what you want to say, how you want to say it. Maybe live a few years before you start writing. I think I was a slow developer in terms of like, you meet some 18, 19-year-olds now and they are locked in. They are on point. My little brother and sister are like grown adults, but they're 21 and 16. But me, I was definitely like, I'm in college, I like music, and I just took the opportunity, which I think is part of the plan, because I think if I didn't, there's so many people that I met that it got to flow through all of these relationships. But yeah, I would tell myself, find out what you want to talk about. Why do you want to do music? Like, why do you want to do music?
The why is so crucial.
I'd say to every artist, like, I feel like a lot of artists have it figured out right now because there's so much music.
I guess that moment when you realized that you needed to figure out your why and you decided to just sort of not release music. I don't know if you're still creating, probably, but maybe not, but you just kind of walked away.
I sort of was like, what am I doing, you know? And I think building a relationship with God was like the foundation to the why. So it's like you have this gift and it's a tiny, quiet voice. Figure it out. Write about what you're going through. Write about... I was in a bit of a dark space because I was like, this was supposed to be the thing, you know, the lights, camera, action, and it wasn't. because I wasn't being true to myself. You just gotta be transparent, be your authentic self. And that's what I've created your path for, I think, you know? I did end up getting, so Flo actually got me a computer and it had GarageBand on it. And that's when I was like, okay, let's have some fun. I made beats with my voice and like layered it with my voice. And then first of all, it was just a bunch of melodies for a long time. And then it was like, let me start talking about stuff, you know? And then, yeah, the honesty came out. And that was quite hard because I didn't grow up with too much transparency with emotion. So it was just like, just get on with it, stay strong, keep it pushing. So there wasn't the conversations didn't really happen. There wasn't time. Do you know what I mean? My mum was a single mum, so it's like, just get on with it. Do you know what I mean? So,
how many siblings? How many brothers and sisters?
So there's 8 of us.
Yeah.
On my dad's side, though.
Yeah.
So we'd see everyone every Wednesday, and then back to my mum's house for the rest of the week.
And music played a big role in
Big role.
Big role.
Just everyone. Like, all my brothers and sisters are talented. Dad, talented. Mum, Dad can play like 100 instruments. No, he can play like 5 or 6 instruments.
Yeah.
Mum plays like 3 instruments. Music was just always playing. So it wasn't like, oh, what's that playing? It was just like, there was just always a hum of music.
Do you remember like what songs or what albums or what artists really take you back there?
Do you know what? My dad used to rinse Bob Marley and the Fugees.
I feel like, oh my God, it's a great house. But for music, that's a great...
It's always like, always.
Yeah, because
like,
the score is perfect.
Always, yeah.
I mean, it's sort of perfect, that album.
Yeah. It's not, you know, I didn't really register because I must have been about 5 or 4 at the time. But when I got older, I was like, respect.
Was it always just fun to get you out there, or did you feel a responsibility of like, well, if I can sing and everyone loves music, should I go out there and do something with this? Would this help?
No, I felt like my role in the family was different to my role as me being a musician, weirdly enough. So, you know, you have family dynamics. So like, I'm sort of the middle, older child, but I was at the time like a middle child. So it was like, I was sort of to myself, but then in the house we were loud and we were rowdy and it was fun, but we all play our sibling roles. So I wasn't really like, I'm the singer. I wasn't like that. But then outside, I would do, when I was like a teenager, I would do talent shows in my area, but I wouldn't really like mix the family. Funny enough, I don't know why.
Yeah.
But I have a thing sometimes where I'm a bit of a recluse, but at the same time, I like to be on stage, so.
Is it escapism, do you think, a little bit?
Maybe, yeah. I feel like it's a part of myself. Maybe that's not my role in the family. Like, still to this day, when I'm with my family, when I'm with my mum or any family, it's not about like, I'm here, this is what I'm doing. It's sort of like, how are you guys? Let's chat. How's everyone feeling? We level with each other, like, honestly and truly. And it's not about sort of like maybe what we do, you know, even though it's part of it, the stories are definitely woven into the music.
How important was meeting Inflo toward getting you to that place where you could be unafraid with your subject matter and with your songs?
So important, like the most life-changing thing. I think we both had been through so much stuff when we met each other. We were just sort of like, no one's backing us. No one was waiting for music. There was no nothing. I had like one team member at the time who wasn't answering my emails. And I love her to this day. Like, we still communicate. But at the time, it just, you know, it fades out and there's nothing going on. And I wasn't really doing much. He had come back from America. It didn't work out there. And we met and he was like, the first thing he said, I was like, I don't want auto-tune on my voice. We linked up through our managers, who we don't have now, but that's why I'm saying it's a blessing in disguise. And he was like, I don't use auto-tune. And I was like, whoa.
Good start.
I was like, whoa, this is great.
Yeah.
He was like, you don't need auto-tune. And I was like, I know, but this is the thing I battle with people, you know?
I love that that's such a powerful observation for you and an important turning point, because it's like, it really speaks to the time as well, which was everyone was leaning into technology. Everyone was leaning into shortcuts. Everyone was leaning into perfection. Everyone was leaning into these spaces where efficiency is a key ingredient.
Yeah.
And just to make a simple statement like, I don't use auto-tune, to me, it says, I take my time.
Yeah.
I trust the artist and the natural voice.
Yes.
I capture in the room.
And the moment.
And the moment.
The moment is so important. That live, when you go to a show, there's a moment, and there might be a little bum note, or there might be a little crisp, or, you know, but that's the moment. Sometimes that's the moment where when I'm watching the show, I cry and I connect, because I'm like, oh, they feel it. They feel what they're singing about. So then I feel it, you know? I'm definitely crying through like,
yeah,
like a lot of the takes, I'm not joking, probably like 95 or 96% of the takes, Flo's like sing, and I'm like, I can't sing, I can't sing. But now I listen to it, I'm like, wow, it's captured and I'm grateful. But the Gold album was like, it was a long time coming. And it was like, what are we doing this for? And it ended up being every song was the relationship with God and giving thanks and the relationship that was built. And it's vulnerable. It's like that's one that's like, I didn't know if I ever wanted to release that album because it was like so like heart-opening.
It came out literally 2 weeks after Heaven.
Yeah.
Was that part of the reason why it came out so quickly was because you came to that conclusion within that 2 weeks to release the album?
To be fair, it was kind of off the cuff. So it was like, I wanted to put music out, and Heaven was a mix of stuff we had, which I loved, which we had compiled together. And then Gold was a finished product. But I was like, we can't just leave Heaven. Heaven's not to be left. Heaven's to be loved and given. Because otherwise we call them hard drive classics. They just stay in the studio forever.
How many hard drive classics?
So many hard drive classics. So many hard drive classics. But like, we were just like, it needs to live beyond us. And I can't listen to the music until it's out. So I don't listen. Sometimes Flo will be like, you got to listen to the song, just about to mix it. I'm like, it's fine, it's fine.
That's trust.
Yeah,
as well.
But as long as my vocals, as long as I'm on key, and I've said my right words, you know, we've got because we're so intimate when we record. It's literally like this. It's literally like, I'll have the mic here or I'll have the mic here. So it's like, no, we don't like that one. Let's do another one.
Yeah.
We don't like mess around with like millions of takes. It's a performance. Most of the time we do the whole song and then we'll layer the stuff over it. And it's more about, we spoke about this the other day. Sometimes we don't know when we've got it, but we're like, it sounds all right. And then we listen to it like, oh, we had it. We just didn't know, you know?
How would you know? You're not even listening to it. You're at the door.
I think that's important for singers, you know, that's like, as long as I sound cool, you know, and I said what I needed to say and the intention was there.
Yeah.
And it wasn't forced, because I think for me personally, if I do like 30 or 40 takes, it's gone. The feeling, the words have gone. I'm like, now I'm just reading lines off a paper.
Well, it suggests that you're searching for something resembling perfection.
Yeah.
Which it's kind of in contrast to what we're talking about, which is the idea of capturing the emotion.
Yeah.
I love that you cried during your singing. It sounds like an almost sadistic thing to say. Like, I love that you're crying when you're singing.
No, but it's like, it's so raw. It's so raw, and I really feel it. When I'm singing, I really feel it. So I really believe it's healing, because I'm like, it's making me cry. And I don't want to cry, because I'm trying to get a nice vocal, because when I cry, I go off key. So I'm like fighting. But I think it's meant to be.
Is there a song that you've recorded in here that was particularly, I mean, I know they all are, but, or one or two that were really touching for you, that you really felt, experience emotion in a different way?
Yeah, I think the songs from Gold, I think Lost Angel, In Your Own Home, it's about being safe, trusting. I feel like I'm gonna have a little moment. But like my cousin passed away last year and they played Lost Angel, but I didn't end up going because I was doing the Salt gig. But for it to be used, he actually had messaged this to me before he passed away. He had messaged that was his favorite song off the album.
Wow.
But so when I hear it, I think of him, but in a beautiful way, you know? I just know it's bigger than me. And I think that's why I get emotional sometimes, because I'm like, it's overwhelming, you know? I know that it's like, I'm just being used as a vessel.
I worry sometimes that music is, because we have so much of it in our life, and we hear it everywhere we go, and it's constantly omnipresent, that sometimes we actually don't take the time to acknowledge how good it is for us.
Yeah, like we tune it out sometimes.
Yeah, and we do a good job of trying to kind of like compartmentalize it and sell it and do all these things, which is important.
When I listen to music, I listen to Bob Marley a lot. It's healing.
People refer to your music as healing, and you've been referred to as a healer through music.
That.
Yeah, I wanted to know your thoughts on that, because I don't think how it can be received any other way but with gratitude. But equally, it's one of those things that, like, if you go too deep into it, the sense of responsibility you might feel for healing other people can be a lot.
Yeah, and I'm a human.
Exactly.
I'm merely a human, and I want to say that in a way that we're all the same, and we all have our faults. I think what I'm trying to say is that I know it's God So I do genuinely try and show up for that and use my stories and literally try and use the vessel. Because, and not wrong myself for, you know, if I have a bad day and not feel bad about it. Like, I'm not even gonna lie, like I've had such a mad night. You know what it's like with kids.
Yep.
My boy's 3.5.
Yep.
He's like, he woke up at 12.
Yeah, he's on his time.
And then he went to sleep at like 3. It's like, please, I need some sleep, son. And then I woke up fine. So I was like, give thanks, you know, that I woke up fine and I feel good and I feel calm. And thank you as well thank you for the whole team as well for being so gracious as well.
So your relationship with God and the way that you describe faith in music is that it's you have to work at it. You have to work at it.
I think so. It's a relationship.
It's a relationship.
Yeah, it's
right?
a relationship.
You can't expect it to be there for you. You have to give something in order to receive. There's a reciprocation that goes on here.
Yeah, conversation.
Yeah.
I think I've gotten better at understanding the conversation, and it's more of a feeling. That's the only thing I can explain it. It's not like a yes or a no. I don't hear a voice or anything. It's more just like a feeling. Am I doing the right thing?
Songs like In Your Own Home and Don't Let Me Fall speak to an environment that wasn't always as calm as the one you're trying to create now.
Yeah, 100%.
And being a parent and creating an album like Mother, when I listen to that now, it sounds to me like someone who's discovered motherhood but needs to acknowledge and address some of the failings or areas in life as a child that you experienced in order to be the best parent you can be.
Yeah.
Is that what that album kind of represents?
Yeah, definitely. And I think both my parents, we're all humans. So becoming a parent, my parents were like 25, 26 when they became parents. You have to understand they wanted to be musicians. They didn't know what they were doing. They were in love. It was, you know, fast love, you know, just like they had a child. They didn't end up staying together. So it was up and down. I think when I had made that album, it was so fresh being a mother and what I would do differently and what I feel like my dad should have done differently. Now I've come to a state of, like I was saying earlier, like grace and understanding that I have an understanding how hard to be a parent is.
You have the experience.
I have the experience. So I want to give them love. If anything, I have so much love for parents because it's like, it's not easy. And just like respect to everyone trying and just showing up in the way that they know. Like, to be honest with you, there wasn't, like I was saying, there wasn't a lot of communication in my home, like in terms of, you know, what's going on, parents going through things. My mum passed away, my mum's dad passed away, my dad, you know, passing away in the family, friends. The communication is just like, that person's gone to heaven, da-da-da-da-da. There's not conversation about death, about grieving. Just anything, emotions. If you're having a bad day, most of the time when a parent's like going nuts at a child, it's usually not the child's fault. They're probably dealing with something. And having that understanding now, they were just young people trying to figure it out, you know?
Yeah.
And feeling that album out through that.
What was the time frame? I know you said it was really fast after becoming a mother that you began to make that record.
Yeah, it was like within 2 weeks.
Wow.
Yeah, it was like, I just didn't know what I was doing. I was like, I've had a baby now, and he's not doing much. It's like sitting there. So there is a recording, which is an amazing recording. I look hella like stressed and like, what the hell am I doing? They just gave me a baby. Like, so now I'm a parent. But that's what happened with Mother, and he was literally there. He was on the sofa, and I was singing the vocals.
And you made the decision after you became a parent to start making this music.
Yeah, I think the whole of the pregnancy, I was really feeling creative, but not really actualizing it. Always listening and making music, but not creating something of substance sometimes. And I think it's important to live life. Like, as a creative, it's important to live life, feel life out. That's how I personally grow. So then when it came to Mother, it was like, oh, I'm a whole different person now. Even like 1 hour after I become a mum, I'm a whole different person now. Because now it's not about me.
Did you feel when you began to sing the songs that did it feel different, the way you were approaching your music as well?
Yeah, and I think what people don't tell you is when you become a parent, your relationships with every single other person changes as well. So that was overnight. My family, the relationships changed, my friends. And then you start to think, time is so important. So why am I meeting you? I know that sounds mad, but I don't have time to spare because I have a child who needs me. So we have to give something to each other when we're meeting each other. And I had to sort of set new boundaries in place. That was interesting. And it was a lot with family, you have to set boundaries in place, you know?
when you do have a small child and you begin when you start a family, those who have families understand.
Yes.
And so they allow you to move in that space.
Yeah.
But yeah, there is some letting go.
There's a lot of letting go, yeah.
It can be pretty tough. It can be quite harrowing at times, actually, to know that the relationships that you've held so close to you are just changing in front of your very eyes.
Yeah, and there's nothing you can do about it as well.
Yeah.
You can't like hold it onto it because it's not this. It will never be the same as it was. It can change and become something new or not, and I think that's okay as well. I wasn't in the beginning. I was like, what the heck is going on? And then now I'm probably at a place which I think I was speaking to a lot of people who had kids, and they were like, it's going to change for you.
Yeah.
And I didn't understand it though, because I didn't even have the baby. So it's just like, had a big belly.
That's why it's so amazing when I listen to Mother again, just another example of you being in the room with Flo and just exercising truth and honesty and being as present as possible, because you really captured that sensation of trying to, that feeling of unconditional love from the second that it begins. But also, like I said, acknowledging that I've got to let go of some old trauma, some old thinking.
Yeah.
I had to go through a lot of therapy and a lot of figuring stuff out when I became a parent. And I feel like Mother was your version of that.
Yeah, probably. Didn't know at the time.
Yeah.
Probably now, listening to it, I'm like, wow. It was very, very deep, very deep. And I'm grateful, so grateful for it. There was like conversations in the house, like the whole family were in the house while we were recording Mother. It was around Christmas time. And I had my son in January, so it was like around that time, that's when everyone's hanging out.
This is
all
mad,
the family,
you know?
yeah.
This is
So it's
crazy
like,
that you're like literally making this album. Most you parents are just finding out where their support system is and trying to figure out who's going to help me when I'm really tired and where's my mum or my brother and sister-in-law, who's going to be here?
Yeah.
And you're like, where's the mic?
It was like, where's the mic? I got to say. I was like, I got so much to say. Yes, I've had a child. He's been listening to all this, like we've been talking, having these conversations. Now it's important to get it out. So it's out.
You get a sense that now that Rise is growing and is developing, you know, real identity and starting to speak and figure out
so funny.
Who he is, right? It's amazing when that starts to happen.
He doesn't like me singing.
Yet.
Oh my gosh.
But do you sort of recognize that experience, even as an infant, stayed with him, that there was an absorbing of what you were doing and creating with him right next to you, that you see that?
He was quiet for a long time. He was quiet for a long time. And I saw myself in him a lot because still to this day I can be, I wouldn't say I'm an introvert, I'd just say I'm to myself. And then I only speak if I feel it's necessary. I don't feel like I need to insert myself in any conversation unless I feel it's necessary or what I've got to say is important. Or not, or I just feel like I have something to contribute. And I see that in him. But now he's really come out of his shell, and I think at home he's just so comfortable in him. And he feels safe, which I love that. But he would just look at us and, you know, and then sometimes just cry if the music was playing. And now he's more just like, if he sees a handheld, he's like, la, 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 la.
Oh, he's grabbing it.
La, la, la. Farts. Really? So I just love it. I just like the confidence. I just like the silliness. And it brings light. It doesn't make the music so serious as well.
It seems to me that it's been really instrumental, that building a family with Flo has been really instrumental in enabling you to create space and privacy.
Yeah.
Which are two things you obviously really value.
Yes.
Because even just being in here feels really special.
Oh.
I just wanted kind of like whether that was by design or it's just inherently who you are, that we don't need to be everywhere, we don't need to do everything, we don't need to tour like everyone else tours, we don't need to leave this room if we don't want to, we can just do it our way.
Yeah, I think creating a safe space. I think both of us had so many experiences, like we were saying about a lot of studios feeling like airports. And sometimes you feel like I have to do something when I'm here, not feeling that pressure. So creating a space where we don't feel like we have to create. Maybe we just have a coffee today and we warm into it, and then maybe tomorrow we try something. It's not like we have to do this, we have to, because I feel like that force thing, that's when you're creating from another place. So yeah, creating a place where it feels like the intention is, the tools are here.
Oh yeah.
But we don't necessarily need to make something in the second. Flo actually taught me that, to slow down and to just never on the first day think you're gonna create something. I always think I'm gonna create something on the first day because I'm an Aries. So I'm like, I'm fine, I got this.
Yeah.
Like, I got up early, I done my workout, I'm ready to go.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, I got no words, I got nothing to say. I gotta go. Because I'm like, I don't like to hang out in the studio for too long.
Yeah.
Because I feel like, I don't know, I'm a mover. Second day, I'm like, okay,
let me stay put. Let me stay here. And then we start, you know.
Whatever you can share with us about the process of how these songs kind of begin to take shape, because as you say, everything is here. I mean, when I walk in here and I see the instruments lined up the way they are and the way that all these instruments are mic'd and just how everything is just so beautifully arranged, I would be like, oh,
yeah.
I'm just going to go to the drums. I'm just going to start.
Yes,
and
yes.
And I wonder how it is for the two of you and how you create a song like, I don't know, let's start with like Reason or Airplane or Heaven or any of these beautiful songs. Like, how do they begin?
It's hard to explain. Like, you know, you make the music. Flow, a lot of the time, starts with a music chord. Sometimes he can play for a long time and I don't feel anything. And then, like, I might be like, yo, that one there. And that's when we start building off the feeling. It's always the feeling.
You know, your relationship with groove and dynamic is obviously is very sort of instinctive, and you move through things that you have no problem putting soul and song structure over groove. But then sometimes I hear a song like Airplane and I'm like, okay, this feels like it was like a campfire situation where it's like the guitar gets played and it's like it just feels very natural. So I just love to just talk to you a little bit about that song, because I think it's one of those moments that really, for me, is like, it's a very special song.
That's a really special song to me as well, actually. I think Flo had a voice note on his phone of a guitar. I think it might have been Jack playing. I was like, what is that? And then we went upstairs and we just started writing. That was a really quick writing song. Yeah. And that's when I'm like, I don't know where that comes from, because it was like, da-da-da-da-da, put the vocal down.
Wow.
Really, really quick. And then it was making me cry. Yeah. Always crying, and it wasn't something. I think it was like 20 minutes or 30 minutes. Yeah, and that's when I'm like, I don't know where that stuff comes from, but it's from God, I believe.
Is that challenging for you at times to let the music go?
No, I think sometimes I don't ever want anyone to have any expectations of me, because it's me being an artist, and I think a lot of artists feel that they feel like they just want to have fun, and sometimes that has to be the hard drive classic. But a lot of the time, it should be okay to just put stuff out and move on. And that can be part of your, like when you look at like Stevie Wonder and a lot of the greats, they got hundreds of work and things out, and that's okay. They just move on to the next, and there will be the classics there, but not to hold yourself. I don't want to hold myself in the past. I want to keep creating, and I know that there's so many stories in me that need to be told. So every day we keep showing up and we keep writing, and hopefully more projects come, you know, time and time again, but sort of letting it go. And that's when I'm like, when it's released, I'm like, oh, I can breathe and move on now. You know, it's not just sitting there, projects. So
I'm so glad you said that, because I feel like we can, as fans, as an industry, as people who invest in the arts, we can, with good intentions, misunderstand the intentions of the artist.
Yeah.
And I think artists really respond to your music in the way you respond to theirs.
Yeah.
True artists understand what it is that you're trying to achieve, and they respond to it. They hear it differently. They speak a different language.
Yeah.
And sort of, I just wondered kind of what's important to you, and where do you think we could do better in terms of helping to support and understand the artistic spirit rather than marginalize it or commodify it or control it?
Yeah, I think for me, honestly, personally, I see a lot of artists, they struggle with, they get put in a box, but I genuinely feel like I'm embraced. And I feel like, whoa, this is like very special. And so I want to give thanks for that first, but also embrace it and not feel like, I genuinely feel like I'm embraced for who I am, which is really beautiful, and what I talk about. And it's so raw and authentic, and I feel like, how come people are embracing that? You know, but maybe people need their stories to be told too. So I appreciate that. But I know that a lot of artists feel like they don't want to be put in a box. And that's a scary place to be put in, because we're ever changing and we're ever growing. And I'm not the same person as I was. I'm 34 when I was 24, you know what I mean? And you change so much every year, and to embrace that change. So I wouldn't ask anyone to do anything different. Just accept the things. And
it's a sensitive journey,
yes,
isn't it?
Yes, it's definitely, it's vulnerable, and it can be scary. But I think it's important it's like the music, you go into anything, you don't know what the outcome's gonna be, but you just say, just let the intention be good, it feels right. Hopefully, we hope for the best, you know, and then we prepare anyway, but try not to think about all the negative stuff that could happen.
Yeah, because otherwise, how do you make music that holds people accountable?
100%.
And that's the other thing that one of the other things you've done is that at times you've written songs and collaborated in environments that I don't know if I'm allowed to or not allowed to talk about, that, from a sort of mysterious, remarkable, creative exercise point of view. Thank you. What's amazing about that project and that collective of creative people and your role is that that's your safe place to be able to fight too.
Yeah, and have fun though.
Yeah.
Just to have fun. So like, I can keep the slow, chill music for Cleo Sol, and soul is like, that's like, we have so many sides. I can do my jungle.
Yeah.
It's important, I think, as people, just don't box ourselves, have fun, and I feel like I have such a freedom through that avenue, and embracing other people, meeting so many cool musicians who also feel, I just want to have fun. I want to say important things. I want to talk about what's going on in the world. I want to love. I want to embrace people and change things and try and change, things that might need to be changed in the way that we can.
But with self-expectation, not expectation from others. That's the crucial difference, right?
I think so, yeah. Because you're just going to get frustrated.
Yeah.
How can you want someone to change who might not be ready to change or want to change even? You're just going to get frustrated in yourself.
Do you like to collaborate in the room with people, or do you prefer to do it that way?
It just depends. Like, I feel like it has to be the right, when we meet each other, that's what it is. So I'm a fan of most artists I'm fans of. I like people's writing. I'm inspired by a lot of artists. But I do feel like it's important to have that connection when you meet each other, because it might be a different thing when you actually meet each other. So it's always like, I'm sort of always like, hey, like, what's the connection like, and how can we feel each other out? I stay really true to the music, and then if I align with other artists, that's great. And if not, that's also great as well. Because I'm a fan first. I'm a fan from the sidelines. I go to performances all the time.
Who do you love?
Everyone. I love Chronics.
Yeah.
That's like, right now, that's who I love. But honestly, I've said to Flo, so far, it's my favorite stuff you've done. Like, above everything. Like, it's my fave right now. They might have someone beat it, but that's my favorite person. And I'm a fan of all the girl artists.
Yeah.
Because I'm a girl, so it's like just seeing all the girl, SZA.
Yeah, who loves you?
I love SZA. I love her.
Yeah,
all of them,
she's
all the
incredible.
girls. Shaka Khan, I saw her. Tiny Desk, oh my God. Erykah Badu,
I know.
sorry.
No, we can keep talking about music all day. I mean, these are artists that, these are iconic voices.
Yeah.
And SZA is that now. And I think when I spoke to her in New York, and she was like, I don't know, when I'm feeling down, I'll just listen to Cleo Sol.
I know, I saw this clip,
Yeah.
and I was like, this is so nice. We follow each other,
Yeah.
and like we've sent each other like a little DM, hey. But she's just very true to it. There's a few girls that I follow, but some I don't, but I'm a fan of music. So whenever anybody's in town, I'm like, I'm going to see them. I'm just like, low-key, put my hood on at the back, just like taking in the music.
What's it like not being around when you are around? Because what tends to happen, and it's kind of like this sort of brilliant contradiction, is that by not being around very much, when you do show up, it's a bigger deal than if you're around all the time.
No, but you'd be surprised, it's not. People are like, I don't know if it's a London thing, but people are just like, hey, like people are mad cool. Most of the time, I see most people when I'm out with my family. People are just cool. They're just like, sometimes a little tap on the shoulder. Hi, just wanted to say, I love the music. And I'm always like, I love just talking to people anyway. So it's always cool, like going to a gig. Yeah, sometimes, but I always feel safe.
People will definitely want me to ask, because this is the first opportunity I've had to do so, what your feeling is about performing live. I watched the footage of the Royal Albert Hall show,
yeah.
and it was amazing.
Yeah,
and
it was
looked like you were
great.
coming off a 2-year run.
Oh,
and
it
then
was so
you
fun.
realize you've done like 5 shows.
Yeah.
And so, I say that in full knowledge that, as you say, you're balancing this part of what you love and your family, which is also
Yeah.
very important to you. Has there been sort of a conversation that's been had with you and Flo, or even just within yourself, about what it is to perform live, what you're willing to do, not willing to do, or is it just a case of time?
It's a case of both. It's a case of wherever we go, the family goes, and it needs to be set up so that everyone feels safe and it's aligned. So literally working around the family, and I think I want to do a few shows.
You want to do shows, but touring is different to shows.
Yeah, so I want to do a few shows, maybe in a few cities, but I don't want to do a million. I don't want to do a tour. Like, I want to do maybe one city, and then hoping people will come to me. I'm hoping for the best.
What is performing, for someone who does it so rarely, it's a rare opportunity for me to get the perspective of what performing is like when you do so few, because most people I talk to have done hundreds or thousands of shows.
Yeah, I feel like I've done thousands, and I'll tell you why. I've done like local talent shows, empty pubs, empty bars, the best training now. Like when I look back at it, I'm like, it's the best training because you're performing for people who don't give a shit about you.
Yeah.
So you have to care about yourself and not walk off because of pride, like no one's watching me. No, that's bullshit. Carry on the performance, go do your full set, have some pride in yourself, and then go and be like, okay, I've done that and I feel good. You know what? There was one person and they weren't even looking at me. They were talking on the phone. I'm saying this is from the age of about 12. I was doing like local community shows until even when I was about up to like 21. Like seriously, shows of nobody there most of the time. And I feel like that was the best training for me. So now I'm like, I get super nervous beforehand, but I always pray. And we have a family member called Leon who comes and prays over us, makes me cry every time. I'm seriously just a crybaby. And then I just pray that I get used and that the nerves are okay. It's just adrenaline. Go on the stage and I feel instantly calm. And that's my favorite part, performing actually, not the recording. So,
interesting.
Yeah, it's my favorite part. Seeing people, that's like, oh, wow, we're singing the songs together.
So that shows real sort of, a real sense of restraint to stop yourself from indulging in the thing that you love doing the most all the time.
Yeah, but then looking forward to it, like Christmas. Like, it's just like, I'm gonna look forward to this and make this really special, and it's gonna be something that only the people in the room are gonna remember. And yeah, people record and all of that good stuff, but this is gonna be a feeling that we can all resonate and look back on and look forward to the next one, hopefully.
It was amazing watching you come out at the Royal Albert Hall show when I was watching the YouTube footage of it, because I wasn't obviously here, and watching just the reaction from the crowd.
Yeah.
And there is something to be said about like less is more in that environment, and it feels like a special occasion for everybody else. But that being said, do you actually see yourself going out and doing shows in the near future?
Yeah, definitely. Next year I want to do some shows.
Great.
So
Great.
that's something I'm working towards.
It's going to be wild for everybody, wildly emotional, because we have all these albums that we've grown to love and really, really know inside out. I mean...
And I don't really know people's... Yes, I see messages, but I don't really know people's favourites. So I'm like, I hope I do this set list justice. I'm a fan myself. Like, so when I see artists, I don't want them... Like, I want them to indulge in their favourite song, but I want you to sing my favourite song. That's why I'm coming to see you. So I think it's really important to have that relationship with people who listen to the music to see, what do you want to hear? Do you know what I mean? And I think that I always want the artist to take my, you know, I want to feel important too, do you know? And I want you to perform that song because you know I love that song. I went to see Jill Scott this year. She done Golden at the end, and that was the song I was waiting for. And I was like, oh, I hope she performs it. And when she done it, I was like, she was like, I'm doing this for you guys. And I was like, yes, you know? So that was good. That was, I always want to do things meet people halfway. Do my fave and your fave too, you know?
How does London feel right now? For people who don't live here, and I feel that you're such an important voice, considering your family heritage and the Jamaican side of things, you're such an important voice. It feels very London to me, like the music you make, it just seems like it comes from this beautiful multicultural experience of people trying to get through. So what's London feel like to you, and does it inspire you creatively?
I think the rush, the hustle and the bustle, there's so many things to do in London. And I think being around my family and friends, that's the most important thing here for me, is my family and friends. Everybody's close, so I have that sort of support, that unit, that network. That's the most important thing for me. It does get a lot though. It can be a lot in terms of the busyness of it all. And that's when Jamaica is like...
To check out.
Yeah, it's calling me, so...
You know, Old Friends is a really important song for me when I listen to it, because it's like the celebration of the end of something. It's lamenting it, but also in a way of like, I'm free now, I have space and time to go and apply my energy somewhere else, more importantly, that's going to give me something back.
Yeah.
What's important to you in terms of, what are the key attributes to friendship to create that loyalty, do you think?
Loyalty? Yeah, I think loyalty is like up there. That's probably my number one thing. Honesty. Sometimes I see it as a blessing and a curse that I'm really good at reading people. So sometimes just like I just don't even want to see someone, because I'm like, I like honesty. So I'm like, just say what you feel, mean what you say. then we can go from there and create new boundaries if we need to. And I think that's very important. One of the most important things in relationships is I'm not who I was before. So the things you used to be able to say or get away with, maybe you might not be able to do that now.
Yeah.
You know, and don't get offended by that.
Just don't leave it unspoken.
Don't leave it unspoken. That's the hard part for me. And I think fun, just being, I've always said just like, I can be my just joke self and just like be silly and not be like, huh, you're weird. You know, just like be wacky and be silly and be fun and like have the childish spirit about you. I feel like all my brothers and sisters, we're like that. We're just goofy when we're around each other. And I feel like that's very important for me. I just love that. And that's like, it makes me truly happy, you know, just not to, life is serious. Being an adult is so serious. And sometimes it's like, you just want to have fun.
It's incredible you've got to this point in your life and you're able to acknowledge that and you're able to exercise it too and live in it because, like I said, oftentimes you hear music from people who want to create a sense of truth and honesty and it feels like it was ready-made and I really feel like we've gotten to know you over the course of your albums.
That's the human aspect, isn't it? That's just like you as a human, you want to always be the best person or do things perfectly or do things right. But what is right, you know? And I feel like, yeah, having some grace with myself and being like, it's all right, it's fine. You'll figure it out or, you know, whatever else.
Are there some songs that you feel you can't listen to because they're too intense for you?
I can't really listen to Mother, to be honest with you. So when still to this day, when I perform Mother, I cry on Build Me Up. And
I find I Love You to be very...
oh my God.
I love that song.
See the slow ones, I can't sing the slow ones. It's so deep. And then for me to sing it, I have to sing from that place.
Yeah.
It's not, you can't just sing it. You can't just be like, la, 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 I love you. It's like...
I heard every word you said except I love you. It's just like... And then you chord I love you, which is just such a bold statement. It says, when I'm going to press play on this, it's like, here comes the love song.
Yeah.
And it's like, ain't that kind of love song.
No, it's not. It's not. It's like Maxwell's Pretty Wings isn't that sort of... You think it's a nice love song. It's about departure. And the beautiful thing about music is you can be singing the song and not really know how deep it is. I feel like, and Bob Marley does that a lot. He's got like Who the Cap Fits. There's just so many songs that you're like, No Woman, No Cry. You're singing it and you're like, this is so deep, you know, what he's talking about. And to me, that's the beauty of music. Stevie Wonder does it all the time, Marvin Gaye.
The layers will never truly understand.
Yeah, the depth of it.
Like
and it's healing when you're singing it.
Yeah, sometimes you have to dance to get the message. And
You do.
Sometimes you have to cry to feel happy and all these things that kind of seem to contradict each other.
You do.
Are you making new music?
I am. I want to play you something too. Yeah, I am. I'm always making new music. To put it out, that's another story. This stuff I do want to put out. So building it, in the process of building it. So yeah, I don't know how we can play it to you.
Yeah.
Can we play it now?
Yeah.
Hey.
Amazing. Oh my God, this is epic.
It's called Fear When You Fly.
I'm so excited. Can I put it up to my ear?
Yes.
Thanks.
If you see me, know that I'm not broken. And even though my head may be low, I will not lose hope.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
If you